Keeping you informed. This is In.form on WBDC and 18 WJTS.
Hello and welcome to In.form here on 101 Country WBDC and 18 WJTS. I'm Kaitlyn Neukam, and we have a very, very special guest in the studio today. I will say she is the resilience expert. We have all the way from, the other side of the U.S., Kate Gladdin in today. She's not only an international speaker, author, certified life coach, and resilience specialist. She is also a podcast host and has her fair share of audio training and whatnot. We are very excited to have you in today. So thank you so much for gracing our presence today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Caitlin, putting me under pressure now, telling me
I'm sorry, I know.
Audio expert. I'm like, okay, I'll do my best for you guys.
Well, we appreciate it. And, you are not from this area. You're in town this week for a very special event, which we will get into here in a little bit. But not being from this area, you get to experience Jasper and Du Bois County for the first time. But will you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you kind of made your journey to us here in little old Jasper, Indiana?
Well, lucky me, I'm really enjoying my time here. It's been a great trip. Oh gosh, you're asking me to sum up a lot in a little.
I know.
But I guess what put me here initially was heartbreak, but not only that, but everything I've learned since. So I really love going to events, which we're going to speak about shortly, because it was just a little bit older than that age with the girls I was speaking with, where my life was turned upside down with the loss of my best friend and my beautiful big sister, Nicole, right as I was graduating college. And it was the first time in my life I was in this heart-wrenching situation. I couldn't control or change no matter what. And I was starting to spiral into a place of helplessness. Yet I saw people go through the worst adversity, trauma, tragedy, and they do become better from it. And so I really went on this quest of what does it take to be resilient? What do resilient people do differently? And that's kind of when I dove into the world of psychology, self-help, and the life coach world, because I'm like, I want to learn how to live again in honor of my sister. And once I started figuring that out, I just wanted to share all these tools and insights with everyone else, and especially the younger people.
Right. And I am a big advocate for mindfulness, and I'm still learning the essentialness of mindfulness. And so resilience is another one of those tools that I think a lot of people could benefit from practicing all of the time. So can you tell us why it's so important to practice resilience, or again, just have that skill to be able to cope with what life throws at you? Is it a universal tool? Is it something that anyone and everyone should kind of consider when they're going through the stages of life?
Absolutely. If you're a human, you'll want to build up your resilience skills, because the reality is we live in a world that is so unpredictable, filled with so many unexpected things, just in big and small ways every day. And so to me, resilience is really about knowing how to better control how you respond to what's happening, because it's very easy to start spiraling, to start blaming, to start feeling helpless. So how do we pattern interrupt those moments of spiral and center ourselves to then get better at responding to things rather than just freaking out and knee-jerk reactions?
Right. Is it ever too soon or too late to learn resilience? Is this something that anyone in any age or any life stage could pick up?
Oh, it's absolutely any age for sure. It's that's the cool thing about it. It literally is a skill set. So just like learning how to play the piano or kick a soccer ball, it just kind of takes practice and repetition and a commitment. But yeah, it's for all ages.
Right. And you've had the pleasure of being the keynote speaker for the local Young Women Leads Indiana Reach for the Stars event, which took place on Wednesday, March 12th, and this is really for the younger generations to learn and take these skills into adulthood and the rest of their life. Can you tell us a little bit about why speaking about resilience to these younger audiences, whether it's here or anywhere else you go internationally, is so important for you?
Absolutely. First, I want to say what an honor it's been to be here in Jasper, and thank you to Young Women Lead for having me as their keynote speaker. I was thinking about this, and I'm like, I think what I love most about events, whether it's me speaking or other amazing speakers out there sharing their story, is young people are learning more about real life, REAL, not just watching the real life that they see online where it's so easy to compare their worst moments with people's best moments. But I think if we can open up, be real, vulnerable, raw about our experiences and what we've learned, to then share this with the younger generation, because I think half the reason they struggle so much is that they think things should be easier, or, shouldn't have to be so hard. But if we can really accept, life is hard and it's going to keep coming at us, but there are practical steps we can practice. So, we can't change what's happened, but we get control back over what comes next.
Right. And I would imagine being able to share your story in the various amounts of ways that you've seeked out, and again, just speaking with people, does that continue to push what you hope to bring to the world, as in sharing your story makes it, of course, more relatable, more powerful, but at the same time, it acts as a way for you to continue to advocate for resiliency in yourself?
Oh, yeah. I mean... being my own business owner and everything, it's a journey, and it's continues to push myself and to learn. And I'm a bit of a geek on the brain, neuroscience, psychology, but no one really wants to read some of those denser books and articles. Right. So it's how do I take some of this deeper brainy stuff that I love to talk to my husband about, and he's like, okay, but and make it more accessible and easy to put into practice for people of all ages. And it's kind of why I've started branching out now. My latest book is for adults, because I realized that, especially, I'm nearly mid-30s now, and mental health, resilience, mindfulness, like you mentioned, it wasn't taught to me at school. And so we pick up beliefs and mental habits from, childhood and on, and then we kind of just recycle them throughout our adulthood, and we don't realize ways that they're not serving us, but also we don't realize our capacity to change them and become, mentally stronger.
Right. And on that, you mentioned your book. Will you tell us a little bit about your book as well as the other ventures? Because not only do you speak at these events, but you've got a lot of other things going on all the time, right?
Well, yeah, I guess losing my sister young taught me you've got to make the most of your time here and do all that you can. So my new book, Okay, Now What? How to Be Resilient When Life Gets Tough, was released just in November. And it's I don't know, I feel like the past decade of my journey kind of condensed together. I actually got the opportunity to write the book because I wrote it with an editor on one of my teenage books, and she heard my story and my tools, and she's like, I learned so much even just by editing the book. I think this is something that the adults could benefit from too. So it's not only, like you said, quite candid and open in the stories and stuff that I share, but it's also very practical based on, it's one thing to say, how you can control how you respond to life, but how? What does it actually take? So I teach my 3R strategy to recognize, reflect, and then redirect. And there's a purpose of each stage. Recognize is really recognizing what impacts us most isn't what happens, but the story we tell ourselves about it, the thoughts and perspective that we have. Reflecting on then whether it's helpful, because sometimes those thoughts feel very valid, but what's more important is how do they influence you, your behavior, what outcome? And then if it's not helpful, I teach you practical ways to begin to redirect your mindset. So it's quite, if you've been looking for a book that, is quite hands-on based and really going to dive into the psychology without putting you to sleep, that's my book. And then I'm continuing to speak at different conferences. I've got some women's leadership conferences coming up, and also some speaking with young professionals in that age group, because you're at that stage in your career where you want to start to grow and to step into leadership, but it can also be quite terrifying and scary, and all your insecurities come up. So a lot of the mindset techniques of how to overcome imposter syndrome and the setbacks that can come throughout your career.
Right. And so as you've kind of explained, your work is really encapsulating various different age groups. And by the way that you're distributing the knowledge you have and sharing this advice and life skills, you're able to catch so many different people in so many different media ways. And that's why podcasting is important. That's why the books are important, because everybody's consuming so much these days, and being able to get it out to where they are is just as important. So that is very exciting to hear that you meet people where they are, of course, but then also you're sharing all of these not remedies per se, but you say, okay, here's the problem and here's what we can do to fix it, which is a lot of things that don't get explained in today's world. It's like, okay, if you've got a problem, here's something that you could do, but also, I'm not going to tell you that right away. You have to go through loopholes. But again, that's why having a book like this is so important, I'd imagine, for readers.
Yeah. And I try and keep it real too. And I think what I love about having a podcast show is I can continue to share stories as they happen and make it like, I don't know, there's something about, I'm sure your listeners feel very connected to you too, hearing someone's voice a lot, and you really get to know them. And so the book and the podcast kind of go hand in hand. But it's also great to, like you, I get to have awesome guests on and get to learn and share with them. But the book name was inspired by my podcast name. So, okay, now what? Because life gives you a lot of moments where you're thinking, okay, now what?
That's
but
right.
I like that it leads into like, okay, now what am I going to do about it? Because that's all we have control over is our response.
That is exactly right. And even if I can't, I'm learning that myself at a young age. So being able to continue to, remind myself and keep that inner voice a little kinder in certain days is one of the greatest things that a gift you can give yourself. And, Kate, if we want more information or we want to seek out and learn more about the various works you do, or just, the various speaking opportunities, how best can we stay up to date with you?
Oh, well, my website is kategladdin.com, so that's where you can learn more about my podcast and the book. I'm also giving away a free chapter on there. If you want to check it out, you'll see the link just to download your free chapter. I'm also super active on Instagram, so that's at Kate Gladdin. So if you have any questions or want to learn more, I read and respond to everything on there. And now LinkedIn, I'm getting on that because I used to, when I was just speaking with youth, it's like none of the youth are on LinkedIn. But now I'm branching out professionally. Also feel free to connect with me on there.
Times are changing, and again, as a media person myself, you have to adapt and change to what people are consuming today. So again, just making what you say count even further and get to as many people as possible by sharing it in so many different places. But Kate, we appreciate your time. Is there anything else you want to make sure to tell our listeners here, starting in Jasper, but again, our listeners could be anywhere and everywhere, so same thing as our viewers, and we hope to get that international reach as you have, but is there any wisdom you'd like to share before you head out today?
Ooh, I would say even when you can't find the good in what you're going through, you always have the power to create it, for you to be the good thing that happens to your circumstances by stepping up and taking back control of your response. So keep living in the power of your response, and if you want extra help, I'm here for you.
Very good. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're here for us. I appreciate your time today and for all of the work you've done, and just being an inspiration and all of the things. And of course, for our Jasper community here, we appreciate you coming to host or be the keynote speaker for Reach for the Stars with Young Women Lead. And we hope to see you around a little bit more, maybe, perhaps. But I know you've got a busy schedule ahead.
Thanks so much. And I appreciate you having me, Jasper.
Thank you so much. And you have been listening and watching your In.form program with Kate Gladdin, the resilience expert, international speaker, author, certified life coach, resilience specialist, and podcast host. A slew of things there. But of course, you're In.form here on 101 Country WBDC and 18 WJTS.
This has been In.form on WBDC and 18 WJTS. Catch past episodes on our social media pages and our websites. If it matters to you, it matters to us. In.form.